Have you noticed how more and more people are taking to the outdoor way of life? Just look around, and you'll see what we mean. Weekends, holidays, or vacation time, the family car is packed and folks take off to seek the advantages of leisure offered by Mother Nature. Fortunately, everyone doesn't travel to the same place. Some enjoy the higher altitudes, the brisk, clean air, and the solitude of a mountain wilderness. The more aquatic-minded American selects a place as close to water as possible, which may be near his favorite trout stream. Some prefer a larger expanse of water, where they can open up the outboard, cut fancy capers on water skis, or relax at the tiller of a sailboat. Still others think there's no place to compare with ocean beaches for pure enjoyment of outdoor living. And then, of course, there's the desert, a long way from rivers, lakes, and surf, but with a quiet beauty all its own. For every American, there's a place for his particular enjoyment of life in the out-of-doors, a place where each may live his life of leisure. Today, 1 million families enjoy a second home for weekends or vacations. This is the site selected by one of those families, near summer fishing and swimming, and close to the ski slopes for winter recreation. Meet the happy owners. Here's John, Ruth, Alice, and Bonnie. Up until a year ago, this family spent most of the year in their suburban home. Their occasional trips to the mountains involved a lot of preparation, then a search for a suitable campsite. Now, those lake trout are just a few minutes' walk from the door of their second home. Their mountain cabin, built for year-round comfort, is the center of a new way of life. The fishing will have to wait until John greets some visitors. His city neighbors are arriving, eager for a good look at the place which has given their friends so much pleasure. Now everyone's settled. What a beautiful location. Fresh pine-scented air, refreshing breeze, close to the water, and to top it off, a comfortable, attractive home. John adds that there was a great deal of satisfaction in doing much of the work himself. Like 75,000 other families last year, John and Ruth became interested in a second home. So one day they visited a display of leisure homes and found just what they wanted. In this case, a pre-cut structure, sturdily built of exterior-type Douglas fir plywood. This was the answer, their dream come true. But how about building the place? Wasn't that quite a job? Actually, John found it rather intriguing. First, he and Ruth looked around a bit before they settled on this mountain lot. The location offered swimming and fishing during the summer and excellent skiing when the snow fell. They made sure to check the area's building code requirements, then arranged to build with the help of friends and some skilled assistance and supervision. The materials were delivered to the site in one load. Everything was there, from the pre-cut and notched lumber to the cut-out plywood panels. Included were complete wiring, shower stall, and plumbing equipment. Even the proverbial kitchen sink. Most of the pre-cut lumber was bundled together in the order it would be used and was unloaded right where it would be needed. The work of angle cutting, notching, and measuring was already done. Everything would dovetail together. Sounds almost too simple to believe, doesn't it? But there was some muscle bending involved. And it began with digging holes for piers which would support the structure. Since this was being built on loose ground, extra large holes were dug to allow concrete pads to be poured under the piers. Then, precast concrete piers topped with nailing blocks were centered on the pads. Extra piers were used since this is snow country. Four-by-four posts, cut to proper height, were spiked to the piers. Girder blocking was fastened to the posts. Frequent coffee breaks gave everyone a chance to admire their work and talk over the next phase of construction. Then it was time to put the muscle to the floor girders. Bolts in perimeter posts gave added support. Pre-notched floor joists were laid across the girders. With nailers on top, it went together much like building blocks. After being properly aligned, the floor framework was nailed down and tied together by the diaphragm action of the fir plywood subfloor. At this point, we'd better check the plans to see what goes where. Actually, every piece is designated by a letter-number combination, so you can't go too far wrong. Assembly of sidewall framing goes like clockwork. The 2x3 studs used in this design fit neatly into the notches on top and bottom plates. Exterior-type fir plywood with a waterproof glue served as combined sheathing siding. And 2x3 battens tied the wall unit together. Here's where more muscle power comes into play, but by this time the kinks are pretty well worked out. interior partitions were then framed to be covered with fir plywood panels, complete with cutouts for wiring outlets. Now, most of the interior structural work was completed. Of course, there were times when the rest of the family helped relieve the routine. Construction progressed, despite some inexperienced help. Some rather questionable supervision, and occasional interference from the family pooch. And you don't have to stick at it all the time. But back to work, connecting the two rafter halves with plywood crown gussets. The system for raising the roof trusses made the work simple and fast. To take the snow load, this cabin had double trusses with pairs spaced 24 inches apart. Collar ties prevent the rafters from spreading. Fir plywood roof sheathing completed the structural portion of the building. Since the family intended this cabin for year-round use, they added some extras. Rigid insulation on the roof, reflective insulation in the side walls, and white fir plywood wall paneling. Because of time and budget limitations, many families prefer to live in the basic cabin for a time, finishing the interior or expanding it later. A few other details. Some professional help on wiring and plumbing, and the home is complete, ready to house a lot of happiness. Well, that's how it happened. From dream to reality. Ruth enjoys her work in the roomy kitchen with hot running water and lots of storage space. A good-sized living room makes entertaining easy. There's a spacious bedroom for the grown-ups with adjoining bath. A loft provides the youngsters with their own private sleeping and play area. Whether it's an intimate family occasion or a time for entertaining friends, their second home is the scene for many happy hours of comfortable living. Here is their refuge from workaday routine. This is reason enough for a second home. But there is more to it than that. John and Ruth have in mind that someday they may retire to this spot. Other families build cabins because they are a financial investment, which cannot help but increase in value over the years. Whether you build it yourself or have it built for you, Your second home will be one of the most satisfying investments you'll ever make. Why not start enjoying life, the life of leisure, in the great outdoors, in your second home?